It's time for Real Estate 101 with the Karey Brown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors.
Good Sunday morning to you. This is Karey Brown, broker owner of Realty Executives Preferred Advisors here in Topeka, and you're listening to Real Estate 101. Every time we sell a house, we have buyers ask us, what school district should I live in? So this month we're getting answers to those questions. We're calling it the Back to School Month, and we are interviewing all the principals for the different area schools. And this morning we have Dustin Dick. He is the principal of Topeka West. Good morning, Dustin.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. So basically posted out on Facebook and said, what would you like to know? And asked our clients what they would like to know. And so each principal will be asking that answering that from their point of view. So first question is, what is a great way for parents in the community to get involved in the schools?
There are several ways really to get involved in the school. Booster clubs are a great way. And so at Topeka West, we have a very active booster club. They support all of our athletic and academic programs at the school. The misconception I think we have with parents sometimes is that to be a member of Booster Club or to make a contribution to the school, you have to do it in a financial way. And really, our Booster Club will just be happy to have your time a little bit. They run all of our concession stands. They do a few other fundraisers and activities throughout the year. And really, they just need help. And so even if you can't contribute financially to help with Booster Club, if you can give some time to help run some of the concession stands or some other things that they do throughout the year, they're more than happy to take that. All of the money that they raise, they turn around and offer grants to teachers in the spring semester, and they pay all of that money back out to the school for either classroom projects, athletic projects, really anything with anyone that has anything to do at Topeka West or does things for students at Topeka West. They're eligible to apply for those grants and take some of those funds to do those things in the next school year. The other thing I would say for parents when it comes to getting involved and things like that is really get to know your teachers, get to know your students' counselor, their administrators, all of the other people, their coaches, everybody at school, and really pay attention to what their students are doing. There's a whole host of people there that can help you when you have questions or some issue arises with your student. And just start early and build that relationship with everybody so that you know who those people are, they're familiar with you, they get to know your kid and take an interest in what's going on with your student at school. We have access for parents to be able to check their students' grades and attendance every day online. So, sign up and pay attention to those things. The other thing, we hear a lot from parents about communication and wanting to know everything that's going on. And, it's kind of a two-way street. People need to want to be communicated with. And so we send a lot of emails. We have a very active Facebook page that we promote a lot of information about the school on Facebook. We also have a Twitter account for the school and a Twitter account for the athletic department. And then various other groups and organizations throughout the school have Twitter accounts that announce the things that they're doing there. Our website has a lot of information on it in our school calendar. So you can see all the events and things that are coming up. So there are lots of opportunities to be informed and stay part of your child's school experience if you want to.
So for grandparents or people that live in the area, I know there have been times where we've had, the older generation, they're retired, and they just want to get involved in the school, like either to work at the school or to help with the reading and, education in the lower level schools. Are those opportunities in the Topeka West School District also? Sure.
We have opportunities for people to volunteer if they choose to do that. Every year we have a few people who will contact us and they wish to volunteer within the school. Some of them have specific programs or specific things that they want to do. Within our school district, we have just a standard form they do that the volunteer needs to complete. They do a brief background check on that person. And then they get clearance to the school that this person passed their background check and they're eligible to volunteer within the school. And so then we'll help place that person as much as they would like to do the things they want to do. We're a little unique in that we have an open campus at Topeka West. And so it's not one building with a whole bunch of hallways. We're an open campus with about 12 buildings spread around the campus. And so we have a lot of outdoor things that need to be done. We have a parent group that specifically just works on landscaping and beautification around the campus. And so we have lots of people that want to get involved with things like that. There are plenty of opportunities for people who want to be involved to do something if they want to.
So there you go. That's the answer to that question. So let's talk about important fundraisers to the school. What do you see as being your most productive fundraisers and how people can help?
That's an interesting question. There are a lot of different groups and athletic event people throughout the whole campus and school that fundraise for various things throughout the year. Probably the biggest fundraising group we have is our band. Every 4 years they take a trip somewhere, usually to a bowl game and perform. So this past school year they went to the Alamo Bowl, performed at they were actually the grand sweepstakes champion of the Alamo Bowl marching competition. So they raise a lot of money over years to do that. It costs a significant amount of money to take 125, 150 band members out of state for a week. And so they do fundraisers all of the time for that. One of their best ones, which is an odd one, over the last couple of years has been a mattress sale. So we were contacted by a company who does a mattress fundraiser. And we were very skeptical. We thought it sounded a little interesting. We've done it 2 years in a row now, and it's been a great fundraiser for us. In the first year, it was really good. So they do various things like that. We do pancake feeds. There are all kinds of other opportunities. It just kind of depends on the group and what's going on. One other big one for us is we have the Frank Walton Foundation. That's a foundation that specifically benefits our football team. They do put on the Frank Walton Classic every summer, which is a golf tournament. Again, all the proceeds from that go right back to Topeka West. They benefit primarily the football team, but on occasion there's some of those funds that help benefit other groups at the school as well. And then, again, all of our cheerleading, dance team, our other clubs, our other athletic teams, they do various small fundraisers throughout the year to help sustain and promote the things that they do at Topeka West.
That's awesome. We also, as a team, whenever we buy or sell a house with a client, they can pick out a school district that they want to donate money to, and we give 5% of our commission to the school system that they ask.
Oh, that's great. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So far, we've given to Shawnee Heights and Hayden. Those just happen to be the areas that they've asked for, so we need more Topeka West people.
That's right.
Okay, so the next question is, what are the dropout rates of your school?
Our dropout rates are about half of the state average. They're at 1.5% annually. That's pretty common among the area schools. We're all in about the 1.5% range when it comes to dropout rate for the most part.
And what do you think could be done to eliminate that?
This year we're starting a new program at Topeka West. We have partnered with the Kansas Children's Service League. We know for instance, our graduation rate year in and year out is about 87% or thereabouts. That's above the state average by a little bit, but of course we want to do better. And we know, for the most part, kind of who those students are that we're losing every year. So we wanted to work on a program that we did with parents and try to engage them more in school, more with their children. Some people didn't have a good school experience, and so they don't really want to connect well with the school. It wasn't a good place for them. And so we're trying to find a way to be more inviting and more engaging to parents as a whole and and get them more involved in school and in their students' academic career. So we had a private donor donate funds to pay for a position from the Kansas Children's Service League for a parent engagement coordinator. And so that person will be on staff full-time this year. We're going to be doing hopefully some innovative things with them. It's a program that the Kansas Children's Service League has that has been very successful with elementary age students. We've made some adjustments to it for adolescent age students, but we're really targeting our freshman and sophomore student population to try and get them started off in the right way. We pretty well know if you can get through your freshman and sophomore year and be pretty successful in school, chances are we'll graduate you. If you get really behind as a freshman or sophomore, it gets more and more difficult for us to get you graduated. So typically we say, if you make it to your junior or senior year and you're on track to graduate, you're probably going to graduate. We just have to find a way to make sure that we get all of those students started off on the right track early on. And so we're trying something new this year to try and do that. And we're pretty excited about it. we think it'll make a big difference for our families.
That's amazing. So how many of your graduates go on to college?
Roughly year in and year out, about 75%. We have a large portion that go to a 2-year or 4-year school. We have another group that go to some type of a trade school or something like that. But usually about 75% of our graduates go on to college for the most part, directly out of high school.
That's awesome. And how many merit scholars are in the typical graduating class?
That really varies quite a bit from year to year. We had one last year. We know that we have at least 3 students this year in this class that have qualified for some level of national merit status that comes out later this fall to let us know where they qualify at. But typically it'll be somewhere between 1 and 5. It kind of depends on the class. We've had a year or two where we didn't have any, so it varies a little bit. It kind of depends on each class and how well we do with that. We do give the PSAT every year, so we'll have lots of students take it. We actually had quite a bit of success last year. Some of those students aren't seniors yet, but 3 kids out of the senior class we know for sure are going to be at some level of national merit scholar.
That's awesome. So this next one kind of caught me off guard whenever I saw it. And, in the texting world and all the slang that is out there, it's actually a relevant question. Are all students taught good grammar?
Yes, we still teach grammar. We do that every day in our language arts classes. I know and I like this with my own daughter, but yes, the texting world, there's all kinds of slang and abbreviations for words, but we do still have kids write. They write on a regular basis. They're expected to use good grammar and punctuation. As an example, the district as a whole does writing assessments every year. Pretty much standard year in and year out. Topeka West has the highest writing assessment scores within the district. Usually we're in the mid to upper 80% of our students being proficient on our district writing assessment.
That's awesome. I will say as an employer, it's kind of difficult to read resumes and things like that and to see that, they don't understand the differentiation between there and, all the different theres and wheres and all of that. And just the typical structure of putting together a sentence is interesting to see an adult not know how to do. So, kids, you really need to pay attention. Your current test scores.
Our current test scores are interesting right now. So we have a couple of competing things when it comes to test scores. Everybody around gets ACT results from ACT. So they give us an average ACT score of the graduating senior class each year, and that's provided to all of the school districts and the high schools around. So our average ACT score is about 21 or just a little under 21. That's close to the state average. I think the state average is about a 22. The schools in the area are kind of all around that number, either a little below or a little above that number. So that one's been consistent across the board for many years that we use ACT. When it comes to state assessments, which we get judged on as well, there have been lots of changes in our state assessment program over the last 5 years, really. And so we've had years where we didn't have state assessments to administer. There have been years when they didn't work well. And so for the last 2 years now, we're in a new assessment system, and we're all still trying to get used to what that means and how that looks. It's really a completely different system and a completely different way of judging the success of kids than what we've done in the past. So now there are 4 different levels that kids get measured in, and they just pretty well call them levels 1, 2, 3, and 4. Level 2 is on grade level. Level 3 and 4 represent levels of college readiness. And so in our district, we've taken the stance of levels 3 and 4 are the things that we care about, and we're going to be judging ourselves based on how many of our kids are at levels of college readiness. That's only been 2 years in place. We're comparative with most of the state on those percentages, but it's a different way of looking at it. In some instances, it feels like a more difficult assessment for kids, and really the state as a whole hasn't looked really great at those levels of college readiness right now. So it continues to evolve. They made some adjustments from the first year of those to this year, and we're making some adjustments again into next year about what those assessments look like. So the state assessment picture has been kind of complicated for us the last few years to get a real good gauge of how well you're doing. I kind of like the ACT just because it's been there and it's been steady for a long time, and it's something that is really well known around our area and that a lot of people look at. So that's kind of where we've been judging success right now more than state assessments. Even though they're important to us, we're trying to get a better understanding of what all that means yet.
Good deal. So the next one is bullying policies. How do you guys handle bullying in the school?
I really don't think we do a lot differently than anybody else. We have policies against bullying. Everybody has some issues with that. It's a real hot-button topic with people right now. We try hard to make sure that doesn't happen at school. For the most part, I think we're pretty successful at it. The hard part is making sure that we know about it and we know enough about what's going on. So we'll have students that will come and report it, but they don't want to tell us who's doing it, or they don't want to give us the whole picture of what's happening. And it gets really complicated to try and figure out what the whole situation is and how to best address it and make it go away. In cases where it's very clear and easy to see, those are pretty easily dealt with. Some are a little more complicated. There's social media complicates things for us. There's even some complications at times of who's actually doing it. Or who they're actually talking to. Some students will take some things off of a post that somebody has on Twitter or Facebook, and they just know that student's talking about them. But those things are hard to prove. It takes a lot of time to investigate them. We have social workers, counselors, and other administrators at school that work pretty hard to make sure that everybody feels safe being there, they're comfortable being there, and we do everything we can to make sure that we address those issues as quickly as they come up and hopefully get them to stop.
Yeah,
I think we've been pretty successful so far.
Social media, I'm so glad I didn't grow up in an era where we had all that.
It has definitely made things much more difficult for us in trying to understand everything that goes on.
Yeah, it's crazy. Kids, just be nice to each other. I mean, there's just no reason not to be.
We say that a lot. Just be nice.
And remember, hurt people hurt people. They, so if they're insecure, they tend to be the ones that are bullying. You're nice people, they don't feel any reason to tear somebody else down. So,
just be nice.
Yeah, just be nice. Okay, so your percentage of free and reduced lunches.
That's gone up for us a little bit over the last few years, but it's about 54% for the most part. So on average, year in and year out, about 54% of our families qualify for free and reduced lunch.
Okay. And your willingness to help with the IEP processes.
I think we're very willing to help with that. Any student that has an IEP has a special education teacher that's assigned to process all of that stuff for them. So usually our caseload of teachers and students that are assigned to them is about 16 to 18 students per teacher on that caseload. We have a department chairperson over that department that helps with all of those things as well. And then, of course, we have school psychologists, social workers, counselors, and administrators there to help with that process as well. So I like to think and hope that we're very responsive to people's needs and very helpful when it comes to anything that they need with their student, whether they have an IEP or not, but certainly when they do.
Okay. And how many AP classes do you guys offer?
Currently, this school year, we have, I believe, 12 AP courses that are offered right now. We also have an additional about 10 honors or pre-AP courses. So for the most part, AP courses are junior and senior level courses. So leading up to that as a freshman and sophomore, we have honors, or sometimes they're called pre-AP courses in our school district. So we have about 10 of those available at that level. And then we also offer about 16 classes that you can take for concurrent credit through Washburn University while you're at Topeka West. So kind of the whole gamut of things there for students.
Good deal. What is your student-teacher ratio?
At the high school level, that's kind of, if we did the straight ratio, it's about 13 to 1. Most people would get a little more interested in class size at the high school level. And so for the most part, Typical class size is around 26 kids at Topeka West. Some classes, depending on the subject area and the interest from students, may grow a little bit to 30 or 32. We typically try to never go above 32 in a classroom. That's pretty full. But for the most part, the average class, most kids that are going to be in are going to have about 25, 26 students in them.
Good deal. The size of the school compared to student load, and you just answered. Well, pretty much. Pretty much.
We have roughly about 85 certified teachers on staff. And this year, our student enrollment will be about 1,075 students. So,
wow, they are seriously outnumbered, right?
Yes, we are seriously outnumbered. We talk about that a lot. If they wanted to, if they don't agree with something or don't want to do it, they outnumber us quite a bit.
Wow. So, kids, be nice.
That's right.
Okay, so school security.
We take security pretty seriously. It's been a huge initiative across our district for the last several years. And part of our school bond issue that passed, 2 years ago now, a big focus of that was on security at schools. With that, we've had panic buttons installed at all of our schools. We have bullet-resistant glass around the entrances to the buildings. We have, at Topeka West, about 145 security cameras on campus. And so really, unless you're in a classroom or in a restroom, you're probably on camera. Just about anywhere you go, anywhere on campus, for the most part, somebody can watch you. And then each of us have police officers assigned to school. So we have 2 school police officers that are assigned to us full-time throughout the school year that are available to students and staff whenever the need is there.
It's just sad that we live in a world that we need bulletproof glass.
Yes, it is.
It really is.
I'm just glad we don't have metal detectors or things like that. We haven't seen the need to do any of those things like some schools in larger metropolitan areas have had to go to that, and I'm very thankful that we haven't had to do anything like that yet.
No kidding. So this one hits home because I do have a 9th grader. 9th graders transitioning to high school, do you have dress codes?
Yes, we do have dress codes. Dress codes are pretty standard, I think, for what most schools have. Ladies can't be showing too much, anything that's too revealing at all. We don't let people wear things that promote alcohol or drug use, violence, profanity, obscenity, those type of things. But for the most part, things that are in good taste are welcome at school. We're a little bit unique from most schools in that we do allow students to wear hats. It's kind of a classroom teacher decision. Because we have an outdoor campus, kids are outside a good portion of their day as they pass to classes. In the winter, it's cold. And so we decided a few years back that we would allow hats. We would just make that, an individual classroom teacher decision. So some teachers don't like to have hats worn in their class, and so that's fine. That's their choice. They can do that. And others, it isn't a problem for, and so that's probably the only thing that's a little different about our dress code than what just about anybody else has for the most part.
Good deal.
And then also just in transitioning to high school for freshmen, we have a Link Crew, or a mentoring program, where we have upper class students, primarily juniors and seniors, but some sophomores, who go through a training program over the summer. And they, the first day of school for us on August 16th is freshmen only. And that day is ran by those Link Crew students. And so those kids wear a shirt that's easily identifiable. A lot of them wear those shirts throughout the week so that if a freshman needs help finding a class or whatever, they can easily identify this as a kid that I can go to and ask for help, and they're willing and able to help me. They're friendly. Then those same mentor students, through our seminar period, teach a lesson once a week to all of our freshman kids. So throughout the school year, each week, then they get a 30-minute lesson that's taught by students, and it's all centered around success in school and being engaged in school and making good decisions.
That's awesome. So definitely dress codes, that one hit the hot button with parents, so I'm glad to hear that you guys have got something in place.
We do.
So now let's talk about what are the things that you would like for the community to know about your school?
Really, I'd like for people to know that it is a very good school. It's a really great place. We, throughout the year, all the time. We have students that are curious about Topeka West. They've heard something about it. They want to check it out. So we give tours to families throughout the year, anytime anybody wants to. We also have students come and spend a day and just shadow another student for the day. Kind of leave them alone and let them do that just so they can kind of get a feel for what a typical school day is like at Topeka West. And we welcome anybody to do that wants to. If you want to learn more about Topeka West or see what it's about, please just contact us, and we're happy to set that up for people. I want people to know we care about your kid. We really do. Somebody's going to take an interest in your student. Everybody wants them to be successful, and we're going to do what we can to try and make them successful. So there are plenty of adults that will get involved and try to do anything they can to hopefully help your student be successful. We have great fine arts programs. Our band is very good. We have students regularly in ceramics and photography that qualify and win national competitions. We just sent a student this summer to Carnegie Hall to have a photograph displayed there in a competition that she had won. We get lots of questions about our athletic programs. We have the whole gamut of athletic programs. They haven't been as competitive as we would like them to be in the last few years, but we've been making strides towards getting there, and we're kind of in a rebuilding phase. But we've seen growth every year in our athletic programs, and so we're hoping again that this year we see more growth and we get more competitive across the board in all of those things. But bottom line, we care. We want your kid to be successful. We want everybody to have a great high school experience, and parents can contact me directly. I'm happy to do whatever I can to make sure that the experience you have at Topeka West is a great one, and that you leave really satisfied with and prepared for what you want to do in the future.
So if someone were looking for opportunities to volunteer, who should they contact?
Most of those people can just contact me. I guess I can give my email address and phone number. My email is ddick, D-D-I-C-K, at tps501.org, or the direct line to my office is 438-4026. And for the most part, I handle all of those questions and inquiries and direct those to where they need to go to get approved.
Thank you so much for being the first principal to come out and talk to me.
Thanks for having me. Happy to do it.
And so if you have any other questions, you know how to get a hold of Dustin. And again, thanks so much for listening. You've been listening to Real Estate 101. If you're looking to buy or sell a house, give us a call, and we'd be happy to donate 5% of our commissions to whatever school you'd like to choose.
Thank you for listening to Real Estate 101 with the Karey Brown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors. Tune in again next Sunday at 11 o'clock for Real Estate 101.